Today, I'm going to show you how you can transform a small shared spare bedroom into a high quality but cheap YouTube studio. If I've learned one thing from creating videos on YouTube over this past year, it's that you don't need a ton of expensive equipment or a bunch of space to film high quality videos. I've filmed almost all of my videos over the past couple of years in this 11 by 10 foot spare bedroom that has my office and my wife's sewing studio, as well as our pet tortoises. So here are 3 tips for filming YouTube videos in small spaces. Tip number 1 is to control your lighting. Now, there are a couple of simple and also affordable principles for how to do this. In my experience, I would recommend always trying to have a soft light hit your face. Now, right now I have a softbox right here that is softening the light hitting my face, but you could accomplish this by just taking a light and bouncing it off of a white surface. Now, I did this for the first year of my YouTube channel, and I just took this cheap little light that I would bounce off of the white wall across from where I was filming, and because it bounced and spread the light out nice and wide, it created a soft and flattering light that hit my face. The other thing that you should keep in mind when you're trying to control your light is to have your subject slightly brighter than your background. And so one thing that I always recommend is to turn off the overhead lights, because one, they're not very good, they kind of create some ugly shadows, and it doesn't allow your subject to stand out from the background. When I was creating the intro bit for this video, I turned the overhead lights on and I just let it fill up the room and make it, kind of washed out and not very flattering. Now I'm filming and I have the overhead lights off, which allows the light hitting my face to make me stand out. And then also you can do some fun stuff with background lights like I have in these lamps right here. I put some dimmable lights. Mine specifically are from Aperture, but for almost the first year of filming YouTube content, I just had some cheap dimmable bulbs from Home Depot that I would screw into those lamps, and they worked great. I could control the brightness levels of those lamps, have some kind of fun highlights in the background that made it visually appealing and a lot more interesting, as well as easy to control. Now, the space of the room doesn't really matter because, as you can see in this shot here, I actually don't have a ton of depth with the cubbies that my wife has for her sewing studio and the desk that I have behind me in the majority of my shots. There's actually not a ton of space, but having a soft light, turning the overhead lights off, and having dimmable lamps in the background allows me to create some depth and visual interest for all of my shots. Tip number 2 is to control your sound. Now, again, there are a couple of principles that are helpful no matter what your budget is. And the first one is just to try to get your microphone closer to your subject. Whether you have a $50 microphone, a $200 microphone, or a $2,000 microphone, the closer the mic is to the subject, the better it's gonna sound. My microphone is right here for reference. It's about a foot, maybe 18 inches away from my face, and it's gonna allow it to pick up the sound in a way that just has more presence than if it was all the way on top of the camera over here. And me sitting close to the camera and close to the mic definitely helps that as well. The other thing that you can do to control your sound is to try to reduce echo in the room that you're filming in. So if you have a little bit bigger of a room, or it just has hardwood floors and not a ton of furniture, try to lay down a rug or a blanket or something that's going to help cut down on the sort of echo and reverberations that are in your filming space. In my case, I'm pretty fortunate because my wife's fabric stash just acts as a wonderful sort of natural sound dampening. And so I feel like I have acoustic treatment ready to go right here on this wall of fabric, but maybe for you, it's just as simple as opening up your closet and filming with your camera facing in the opposite direction, but allow the clothes that you already have hanging in your closet to act as kind of a sound dampener rather than having the door closed and getting the echo off of the wooden door. Tip number 3 is to control your background. Now, this can be just as simple and basic as picking up so that your background is distraction free and aesthetically pleasing, but there's also a few things that you can do to help elevate and make your background more interesting and visually appealing, even in a small space. The first thing is, like what I touched on earlier with the lighting, trying to do some stuff to help separate yourself, the subject, from the background. So definitely having your face lit slightly brighter than the background is going to help. But anything you can do to kind of create some depth and dimensionality there is definitely going to help. The walls in this room they're just plain white walls. And so when all of the lights are on, it just kind of looks plain and kind of boring. But when you turn the background lights off, when you add these dimmable lamps, and when you do a few little things like hanging these floating shelves or having, a computer screen in the background that's not too bright, not too dark, not distracting, it's going to add some depth and dimensionality to it. So this is the area where you can definitely have the most fun and most creativity. But if you control it and you can present it in a way in your videos that you're happy with, it's going to elevate your YouTube videos no matter how big or small the space that you're filming in is. Be sure to let me know in the comments section below where you're filming your videos. I'd love to hear if it's in a spare bedroom, if it's in your living room, a dedicated studio, or you just film outdoors. I'd love to hear how you're creating your content. Well, that is going to do it for this one. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, I would love it if you would hit the like button. It really does help support this channel and help more people find this video. Thanks so much, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.